Hey guys, how's it going? ItZMuRdA here. I'm going to do a Esamir flyby video of the new changes as has been requested by a bunch of people that weren't able to check it out on stream last night. We flew around for about an hour and a half on Esamir and checking out some of the other new things. The VS audio for the guns is pretty cool. Check that out if you haven't. But I'm going to try to do a quicker flyby of Esamir for people who want to see it. I'm just looking at the map first. Note that the map is far from done. The lattice links aren't actually in yet. The graphics haven't changed. For instance, this base is no longer here, but it still shows up on the map. But you have an idea of what they're going for with the new hexes, and I shouldn't say hexes, but that's what they are, where bases are actually going to be located. So the first thing I want to really mention is that you'll notice some major changes, and I'll fly by them. Like Jaeger's Fist went from up here way down here next to Jaeger's Crossing, which I think is actually pretty cool. All of the main facilities have new blown out satellites, essentially like you're familiar with on Indar, rather than just here and here. And Divari's got its bases, around and so forth. The Esamir Munitions is a really cool new base. I'll fly over that, and it's right next to the ItZMuRdA things. That's one of the comments Roy Awesome made last night, is that it's really just a small foot-zerg away. So there might be some infantry traffic there, which is pretty cool. The Glacier Station unfortunately got removed. I'm not sure why. If they just, I did like that base, but in its place is a arguably more awesome base, the Octagon, that I'll have to show you guys as well. Might be my favorite base here. And there's some other pretty cool spots to replace some lesser used areas. East River Sky Station is pretty awesome. The Knot Substation is pretty awesome, and I'll show you those things as well. I'm not going to hit every single base, but you'll get a feel for it. I think you'll agree. My hopes are just that. I've said this on stream last night a lot. Esamir is my, definitely my favorite continent by, right now on live servers by a long shot, and I fight there 90% of the time, and I really love it. And I love all of these changes. I just hope that in reality they don't turn into, pop lock Zerg Fest types of things that you've seen on Indar after Lattice has come to Indar, where it's just resulting in so many people in the same area that it becomes not very fun. As that's my biggest criticism of the Lattice on Indar. So I think a lot of these base designs and geography and architecture will limit you, or limit the spawn camping and things like that. But nonetheless, it's still a concern of mine. So I hope that Esamir is just as bit fun as it's always been, and that much more given the new designs. So I'm coming up on the new Jaegers here, and here's your Jaeger's Crossing, which you're familiar with. It's pretty similar, with the exception of, like, obviously these spikes and hills around it, and over here as well. Obviously this just was a road that went right up to Jaeger's Fist, but now it's a bit different, with some surrounding mountains and things like that. But the base itself is mostly the same. But then you got Jaeger's Fist right here, which I think is pretty awesome. And still two separate bases. Jaeger's Fist changes a little bit, but not a ton, as kind of just a smaller outpost, and really complements the Jaeger's Crossing fight, which I always thought was a lot of fun as well. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see them right next to each other. And then you start getting right into the end of our satellites, and you'll notice a ton of these crystals and large boulders and rocks and walls and things like that pretty much everywhere we go. I'll take a look at some of the other end of our substation type of bases. There's some of the walls we're talking about. There's a ton of care taken to trying to prevent spawn camping as much as possible, which I really like, because that was my biggest complaint, not only on Indar but anywhere, was being able to be spawn camped so easily, especially by vehicles very far away. You'll notice trees in some areas, very, very dense populations of them, that infantry can weave in between, which is awesome if you play PlanetSide 1 already. So here's the new Snowshear, which is pretty cool as well. I like this base, and they obviously kept like this part of it, but then really build up walls and rocks and things around it, as well as those giant walls over on the other side of B. So I think these will be really awesome to fight in personally. You're also going to see the same for Palos over here. It looks pretty similar to what we have right now. There is a lot of walls around everything, and there's a two-tiered setup in the middle, kind of similar to what you'll see over at Knot Substation later, where you can actually go below that catwalk and fight beneath it, as well as on top of it where you need to be for the objective. There's our other warp gate. I want to hit Esamir munitions before we get too far, so I don't skip it again accidentally. I'm trying to think, I can fly through Freyr and then go south, I guess. Some of the Freyr satellites are pretty awesome as well. They'll look very familiar if you're familiar with the current bases, but then they're gonna be that much more reinforced and fortified, so that's pretty cool. Alright, I'll take you down to, you can see it on the horizon, the new awesome Esamir munitions. We heard you like towers, so we put a tower in your tower, etc. So this base is going to be pretty cool. Definitely one of my favorites. It's a typical tower with a tower attached to it. And obviously, like, points are at different towers. For instance, A and C, and apparently B. I don't know if those are final point places, but I think that could make for some really interesting fights. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. It looks like A is where the spawn is going to be, just by looking at the map, if I had to guess, and then B and C would be, where attackers would be taking hold. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Here's a really blown up ItZMuRdA mining operation satellite, or blown out, I should say. Like, it probably looks familiar to you, but it's got so many changes. Look at how fortified this spawn room is. And I mean, I don't want to keep getting out of my aircraft or anything, but just imagine actually being down in there on the ground as infantry, which I think will be a ton of fun. Really bring a whole new dynamic to the infantry gameplay that we haven't seen yet. I'm going to fly up towards Manny before I go further south or east. And I'll take the time to mention that the dome shields aren't on Esamir right now. I don't know if they're planning on releasing Esamir changes without the dome shields first or anything like that. I'm really not sure at all. They are on Indar in tech plants and amp stations in kind of a very early state, so I'm not going to bother going over there at the moment, but they are there and they're still being worked on. So I'm not sure what the deal is going to be with them. Here's some of the Manny satellites. You'll notice that the one that you're used to, that used to be over here, is not here. There's a remnant of like a door down there, and instead they made this brand new spot where you come across the bridge over by North Haven and things like that, which is pretty awesome. This base in and of itself is brand new and really kind of built up. Nothing was ever really here before on this side, so I mean, I'm pretty sure it's remnant of the satellite that used to be over there, but obviously it's kind of hard to tell the difference. If you're familiar with that satellite, it does look similar in ways, but much cooler for sure. Or North Point, I said North Haven, yeah, combining both of them. Haven Outpost it did not change very much compared to most of these, but got some extra fortifications for sure. I thought these bridges were pretty cool from the B point. My Reaver feels so slow. I've got like no certs on anything right now, on this character at least. Stillwater again didn't change very much, but got a lot of fortifications in needed areas. Even just like this little wall and those rocks over there, it goes to show the care that was taken by the development team putting into where extra things needed to be to prevent spawn camping and things like that. So even those minor changes I think are pretty awesome. Where do I want to go next? I don't know if I was at the rink. That's one of those new ones. Let's check it out. So that's a pretty cool spot for A to be, under those pipes. This is essentially a brand new base. Why not? It looks pretty nifty. Some pretty cool close quarters combat going on inside there. It's on a hill of its own, so you're not really going to get shelled from tanks or whatever that are down there. I'm going to go south before I go up to Knot, because I kind of want to get out of the aircraft there and finish over there. Well, let me change that up. I'll finish over at the Octagon, because you really want to kind of get out of your aircraft there. So here's Knot. A lot of the main bases didn't change a whole lot, but while I'm here I'll show you that they did change in the sense of having trees added and extra crates and walls and boulders and things like that where necessary, especially in some of the tech plants where there were some open spots by infantry fights over by the spawn rooms and things like that. So here's Knot Substation, which is definitely one of my favorite bases, especially for a satellite. There is a huge amount of trees, and then this is the part that Roy showed me last night, where there's this main catwalk area, kind of like the other base, I forget which one it was that we were at earlier, where the fighting for A is going to be here, but there's also a completely separate layer beneath where you can kind of go from pillar to pillar, you know, line of sighting your opponent, if you will, and have this completely separate battle down here. It is pretty wide open, but nonetheless a pretty cool design that we haven't really seen, so I'm in favor of seeing how it plays out. This kind of gives you a feel for how it feels on foot, though. I can even go over by some trees while I'm on the ground. So this is going to be very remnant of PlanetSide 1 fighting for many of you. There was a lot of heavy tree cover and going from tree to tree and stuff like that, so I'm pretty excited about it. The crash site, which I always thought was an awesome base, did not really change very much. However, they did move the spawn room inside and made other wise changes to make it a more enjoyable base to fight at, I found. So that's pretty cool. Just loop down there. Here's the new geological survey that I just flew over. There's frostfall on some of the Esamir satellites coming up on. We'll go over to East River Sky and finish up at Octagon. I didn't want this to turn into another half-hour flyover. So anyway, yeah, here's the base that you're familiar with, but the spawn used to be like back in there, and now it's right there, which is I think going to make this base a lot more fun to fly at, or fight at. So I think that'll be pretty cool. Can drop down to Ellie. I don't know if there's anything too exciting down there. I don't really remember, but pretty much every base just looks way better in my opinion. Oh, this was the base that they showcased on Friday Night Ops a while back, which I think is another cool design. You've got the path beneath for ground vehicles, but you've got these bridges and walls and trees and a whole lot of cover going on here as well. Some covered areas as well, like you'll see over here with this one over that way. A lot of these areas where infantry can get in and still have cover, air cover, and things like that. So this is a pretty cool satellite. I've noticed that the distance between them seems shorter in a lot of bases too, so I like that. I don't spend a ton of time in vehicles, as you probably know, and I definitely like being able to foot-surg to a reasonable location when I can. Here's another Ellie satellite, just immense tree cover in this one, so that's why I wanted to fly over here. That's really cool. Like the walls aside, just using the trees as cover there would be make for some pretty interesting fighting. So I like it a lot. I hope they don't go back and on any of this if they get any complaints from people who really just like sitting in tanks all the time or something like that. No offense if you do. But there are many places where you can be effective, and I hope that Esamir, if anything, always remains the essentially the home for this type of infantry-focused fighting, and I hope that it turns out as good as it seems like it can on paper. So I'm going to fly up to East River Sky, one of my other favorite bases, and then we'll finish up over at the Octagon. Save the best for last, man. So you can see as we approach it, Pretty unique base for sure. I like how it extends over out into this lower area, and there's just like, it's like you're fighting on like the deck of something that should be in space, pretty much. And there's many a jump pad on various sides to get, you know, to and from, I think, Vanu archives, but much cooler. Then there are little teleporter rooms. That's obviously the spawn room. There's another jump pad on this side to get up. And I don't know, I just think it looks like it's going to be a really awesome base to fight at. Kind of combining some of the cool elements of Vanu archives and other types of bases like that that are really kind of blown out. Whatever that base that we were fighting at all night the other night that I can't remember the stupid name of, Howling Pass. I think going to be pretty cool stuff. So here's the octagon coming up on my left. And again, there's a sneak peek of it. Here's where Glacier Station was. Probably looks familiar, but it is not there no longer. And this is the octagon. So it's like a glorified stronghold. I think it's the base that we all wanted Stronghold to be, or at least we as in infantry people. Here's where you pull a vehicle and it'll pop out the other side. It is completely fortified on all sides by these walls that are actually pretty high. I'm in an aircraft, so you can't really tell. And you can see this is how you actually access it. It reminds me kind of Dire Maul and WoW for some strange reason. I doubt that was any actual influence, but if it was, I just got bonus points. And the different entry areas can't be accessed by anything other than, I assume, a flash. Certainly couldn't get a harasser in there unless you have some creative, you know, jump moves over one of these boulders with nitrous or something like that. I'm not going to say that you can't get another vehicle in there because I'm sure people will find creative ways to do it. But the idea is that it's just infantry entry points, obviously, other than aircraft. I'd love to see a dome shield on a base like this, just all the way, just, you know, nothing. Just, you have to park outside and go in. I mean, I realize there's going to be a ton of choke points if that's the case around these areas. But nonetheless, it's a pretty cool base. And definitely my favorite just because of its really unique design and how much it favors infantry. So this would be like one of the approaches, just to give you a scale being on foot. And here's your base's 4 objectives. Like I said, you've got this two-tiered, two-layered battle approach again. You can fight on the ground down here. You can get up on the catwalks. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. There's some extra terminals over there for attackers to hack and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this base just looks like a dream to me. So I hope it's actually as fun in theory as I think it's going to be right now when it's completely empty. But I can't wait for this stuff to hit the live servers, and I'm really excited about it. And like I said, I hope that it works out to be as fun as I know it can be, and it doesn't just get frustrating and overwhelmed with thousands or many hundreds of players all in the same spot, causing lag, causing frustration, causing camping, you know, things like that. It's really designed to not have that happen, and I hope that pulls through when we actually see it on a live server, because you never really quite know the effects of something until it's put into action. So I've got really high hopes for it. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments, questions, etc. And hopefully we'll see this real soon. And I was looking real forward to the dome shields, and I still am. But even dome shields aside, because there aren't any right now, I think this looks awesome, and I can't wait to try it out. So let me know what you guys think. Be sure to stop by the stream over at ItZMuRdA.com or twitch.tv/ItZMuRdA_TV. Hit that follow button. I do stream PlanetSide 2 every day, so I really appreciate the support. And thank you for the support on YouTube. Any subscribes and likes and all of that, I really appreciate it. It really helps me out a lot. And feel free to follow me on Twitter. I talk a lot about PlanetSide 2, chat with the devs and other community members. I tweet whenever there's a new video, whenever I'm streaming, things like that. That's the same handle as my YouTube handle, ItZMuRdA. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you on the new Esamir here in the near future. Have a good one, guys.